56 million voters, 234 assembly seats, a bipolar political pitch where the electors conscientiously vote out the incumbent party. Tamil Nadu, the investment destination of South India, is voting today to choose the next government. But in 2026, the script is being rewritten. On one side, you have the DMK under MK Stalin fighting to retain power. On the other, an AIA DMK desperate to reclaim its legacy. And then there is the X Factor, a cinema superstar with a new party, a neutral caste identity, and a manifesto full of gold and gas cylinders. Is the two-party duopoly finally cracking? Or is this just another cinematic cameo in Tamil politics? In today's episode of our election series Polls on My Pod, we are looking at Tamil Nadu, which has a long history of being charmed by cinestars turned politicians and can easily claim to be the pioneer of freebie politics, offering color TVs and mixers and grinders. It is Thursday, the 23rd of April. I'm Nidhi Sharma and you're listening to The Morning Brief. Now, before we talk about the election issues in Tamil Nadu, let's look back. Tamil Nadu, like neighboring Kerala, has an electoral history of voting out the ruling party. Since 1967, when C.N. Annadurai led the DMK to victory, the national parties, Congress and later the BJP, have essentially been relegated to junior partners in alliances. For decades, it was Karunanidhi versus MGR, then Karunanidhi versus Jayalalitha. It's a unique mix of social justice, rationalism, and fierce linguistic pride. Jayalalitha had broken this pattern in 2016 and before her, MGR in 1984 when they were voted back to power. Now let's fast forward to present-day elections. What are the issues dominating conversations from Chennai to Coimbatore? My colleagues Diya Rekhi and Krishna Kumar traveled through Tamil Nadu to get us ground reports. Let's hear from Diya about election issues.
This is a really interesting and exciting election because we have a contender in the fray that can really sort of rattle the existing status quo between the two Dravidian majors, which is the DMK and the AIADMK. To start off with the burning issues for this particular election, I think the main ones that I have come across in the state would be law and order, corruption, and also drugs. Now, we have seen some really heinous crimes against women and children taking place in the state in the recent past. One case that immediately comes to my mind is the Anna University case, which involved a 19-year-old student who was brutally raped and sexually assaulted on campus in December 2024. It is something that continues to haunt the DMK because the opposition still brings up the fact that the DMK did not do enough and that the DMK went soft on the perpetrator. Another more recent instance involved a DMK youth wing functionary, in fact. He was arrested for sexually assaulting and murdering a 2.5-year-old girl in Krishnagiri district. So I do think that there are a lot of women especially who do feel like the DMK did not do enough for women's safety. They say that a lot of instances of sexual harassment and sort of like eve teasing and those kinds of things have gone up during the last 5 years, and not much action has been taken.
The political parties are promising the world unemployment allowance, free gold, and whatnot. Chief Minister M.K. Stalin is banking on the Magalir Aramai Togai, or monthly cash for women, and his focus on global investments. He wants to prove that the Dravidian model is future ready. Palaniswamy, or EPS, is hammering the government on price rise, alleged corruption, and the dynasty tag, especially with Udayanidhi Stalin's elevation. But the election in Tamil Nadu has become about the X factor. Actor Joseph Vijay and his party TVK. He is promising 8 grams of gold for marriages and free LPG. Is this just MGR 2.0? Both Diya and Krishna felt Vijay is hitting a specific fatigue among voters under 40. But here's the secret sauce: caste neutrality. Tamil politics is deeply rooted in caste blocks, Tevars, Vanyas, Gaundars. Because Vijay is from the Christian community, he doesn't fit neatly into the traditional Hindu caste hierarchy. This allows him to be a universal leader acceptable to all. His manifesto targets two critical blocks: youth and women. By offering 2,500 rupees to women and collateral free loans to young entrepreneurs, he's trying to pull a DMK on the DMK. But can he win seats, or is he just a vote spoiler? In a close fight that can decimate the majors, he is the spoiler in chief right now. Let's hear what Krishna has to say.
Tamil Nadu is a very casteist society. Across India, we use our surname. In Tamil Nadu, people don't use their surname because they are identified with their caste. So, Tamil Nadu, the whole Brahmanical supremacy was there and the Dravidian movement was launched against it. But the Brahmanical supremacy has been removed. But there are other castes that are still at loggerheads with each other. This is where Vijay comes in. Vijay, by virtue of being a Christian, all the other castes identify with him because he does not belong to any particular caste. That is why you see in all the families, this is across DMK, AIDMK, even the Patali Makkal Kachi. Vijay supporters are across parties. There are families that have traditionally voted for AIDMK. There are families that are traditionally voted for DMK. Vijay, the parents might be voting for DMK, but the children will be like, no, you know what? Let's go for Vijay. So definitely Vijay is a factor. He is going to have an impact.
Krishna points out that out of 234 seats, about 120 were won by a very slim margin of less than 20,000 votes. Out of these, 36 were won by 5,000 to 10,000 votes. Presence of TVK could easily upset this delicate balance. Diya had visited Karur, which witnessed a stampede at Vijay's rally in September 2025. 41 persons had died and 100 were injured. But has it affected his popularity? Here is what Diya has to say.
That entire Karur stampede doesn't seem to be affecting his popularity at all. Everyone I asked immediately said that this is not his fault. The government should have provided adequate security and protection for the people as well as for Vijay to be able to conduct that rally. It goes towards being this entire DMK conspiracy to ensure that he does not rise beyond a point.
And where does the BJP fit into this? They have been very loud in the state recently. They are the disruptors. The BJP is trying to build a third front vibe, focusing on spiritual politics, what some call saffron Dravidianism. They are looking to pick up the anti DMK votes that don't want to go back to the AIDMK. Diya tells us about BJP and its popular leader, Annamalai.
I feel the BJP has sort of been a victim of its internal politics this time around because we've seen that Annamalai, of course, didn't get a seat to contest. he was having too many sort of internal tussles with the AIADMK, and the BJP is nothing without the AIADMK at this point. I came to Coimbatore and the same districts in 2024 during the MP elections when Annamalai was contesting and didn't end up winning. But what I did see was people who were genuinely keen on voting for the BJP, especially again youngsters. Now, the same people today aren't as taken in by the BJP and are looking to vote for Vijay. And even in Coimbatore last time, people who had their businesses or homemakers just sort of banded together and said that we are going to go door to door and ask for people to vote for Annamalai. And I was curious when I came to Coimbatore about where these people are right now. And I asked him this time, did you end up going door to door campaigning for the BJP? And he said, no, I didn't spend even an hour campaigning this time because I just don't feel that motivation when Annamalai is not really around. People really connected with Annamalai, and I don't know if they connect as much with other candidates. Maybe, for instance, a Vanati Srinivasan from the BJP who won in Coimbatore South last time. She's been fielded from Coimbatore North. She might have that kind of following amongst her people. But as a cult following, I think Annamalai had more charisma that way.
Tamil Nadu has always marched to the beat of its own drum. Whether it stays with the Dravidian majors or pivots to a new star, the results on May 4th will ripple far beyond the borders of the state. This is all we have for you on Polls on My Pod. We'll be right back next week with an episode on West Bengal. This episode was sound designed by Amrit Reggie and produced by Anirban Chaudhary and Vinay Joshi. If you enjoyed this episode, do spread the word around. This is your host Nidhi Sharma signing off.